Haha, time for dwarves. Alright, so we just got a migrant wave. Let's check this out. We already got a fisher dwarf. Oh, it's hard to see from here. Oh, I just saw peasant. Children. Farmer. Fisher dwarf, noble. Alright. Not too many, but that's less dwarves to deal with, I guess. Something I realize that I've neglected to set up or deal with is dwarves dying. Which, honestly, if you are newer or less lucky than I've been so far, you probably would have had to deal with by now. So there's basically two ways to entomb dwarves. One's a little easier than the other. And the easier one is just to put out coffins. And coffins kind of work like room in that if a dwarf dies and there's a coffin available, a free dwarf will just put whatever remains they have into the coffin and they're dealt with. And the reason you want dead dwarves to be dealt with is because if you don't somehow memorialize their death, either with a coffin or a slab, then they can come back as ghosts and haunt your fortress, which just is not a good time. Generally, they don't attack anyone. They're not like directly dangerous, but they do make your dwarves pretty unhappy. So the way I usually like to do it is just leaving room for basically like a coffin and then an open space, and then I'll just have a big open one. And if you want to make a slab, it's a little different because you have to make the slab first at a, not a craft doors, a mason's. You make a rock slab. So I'll make a couple of those and then we'll get to that. And we also want coffins. Now usually they're called coffins, but if you make them out of metal, they're called sarcophagus instead. So, you know, if you're trying to make coffins out of metal and you can't find them, that's because they're called sarcophagi. Or called a sarcophagus, I suppose. And we're up to 60 dwarves, so this amount of room is going to start being pretty lackluster at this point. What was this? This was going to be my tavern. So I think I'll actually make that a little bigger. Even though I'm going to get damp stone messages. Alright. We still have new arrivals. Alright, I see a peasant, so they're probably a soldiery type. If I just look at... Oh, where is it? Nope, he's a poet. Alright, that's less useful, but we still have someone to put in our tavern who actually knows how to do stuff. He can perform poetry. I'm not sure if they'll write poetry if you make them scholars, but I kind of doubt it. That would be what you would do with a library. But anyway. Let's see, do we have a slab done? Not just yet. Alright, let's see what else is going on. It's been a little while. Line it out down there. What is this? Granite. Okay. Right, and then the cave is down here. We've got our flux getting collected. Very nice. So I should also be smelting. If I can remember where anything is. Right, pig iron and steel. Excellent. So that is great. And we've got a lot of idlers, but on the other hand, I'm not sure what I should have them do. I need to check what our dirt layer is. I believe it is sand, so I could start a... Alright, and I already have a sand collection. I already have a sand collection zone, so I might as well start up a glass industry, because green glass is pretty easy to make. And glass is starting to get into the slightly more complicated type of industry. So you can make 3 kinds of glass. I think I mentioned this before, but you can make green glass, which you just make out of sand and a charcoal. Or you can make clear glass, which you make out of sand and pearl ash, I believe. And then rock glass uses rock crystals. Or not rock glass, words. I think it's crystal glass, actually. But you use rock crystals or something. I don't think I've ever actually had like glass going and found rock crystals, so. But making clear glass isn't too bad. And it tends to be worth a fair bit. So to make pearl ash, let's see, you make it in the ashery, and you make potash, and then you turn the potash into pearl ash. So you make ash, and then you turn it into potash directly, or you turn it into lye, and then turn it into potash, and you go from there. So I think since I have plenty of wood and I'm fairly close to the surface, I'm just going to put ash and charcoal on repeat for a while. And if I make some elves mad in the process, then all the better. Right. How big is my military? 7. So if we're going by the rule of thumb of have your military at least 1/10 the size of your population, we're still fine. Since I have so many idlers, though, I am considering setting up an archery range and starting the range squad. Now, why don't you want to build there? Oh, did I get rid of the... Yes, I did. I got rid of the upstairs. Well, that wasn't the best place to put it. It was blocking that caravan, wasn't it? Ah, yeah, that's right. Okay, you know, that might be this up here that's blocking it. For all I know, I don't know how many Z layers a caravan needs, but that would certainly explain it. So I suppose just put it anywhere. Probably move the stairs back into the barracks once the floor is in. And we need more drinks. Don't want to run out of those because you won't notice. Plant and fruit. We'll see if they have any problems with that, and they probably will. That's probably why I'm out of drinks. Once your fort gets up and running, you tend to have enough farms or whatever to just continually maintain booze production, so you just set it on repeat and forget about it. Same goes with food. Alright, so we should have some slabs. So if you want to do a slab instead of a coffin, you go to Engrave Memorial Slab or Alt-S. And oh, we do have a dead dwarf. So here it'll show you, it'll say no slabs engraved, not memorialized. And if they are either in a coffin or have a slab already, it will say that they are as such, and it'll be in green where not memorialized is. That is interesting. So it's a good thing I started on this. So for the coffins, it's build and then N. Got a couple marble coffins already. And that'll just be a hauling task. Get those in. And then you use your, what do they call it? Queue. Set building tasks and preferences, the queue, and you just set it to use for burial, yes. And then usually, unless you have an abundance of excuse me, abundance of burial receptacles, you'll usually want to disallow pets. And I think actually in the options you can set it to by default not allow pets, but I don't know, I'm too lazy to go and change it or something, I guess. You can also make tomb, and it kind of turns it into a room that you can then assign to someone. I think if you get really high level nobles like kings and such, they will actually require tombs of a particular quality. So that's when that becomes relevant. So that's the easiest way to do it. But if your dwarf dies in a way that they can't recover his remains, his or her remains, like they they're destroyed entirely or they fall into water or something like that, then you'll have to engrave a slab. And then once you have the slab, I might as well just do a slab because it's kind of do a slab as well. And you can also engrave memorial slabs to dwarves that are already buried. The nice thing about slabs too is that if they're in a coffin, it just tells you whose remains are in there or whose it's memorialized for. But if it's a slab, it actually gives you some information about who they were in life, how they died, things like that. Oh, this might be the end of the fort right here, or the beginning of fun. So, a bunch of soldiers just transformed into wereskinks. And that's probably because in that fight with that wereskink that attacked my fort, they got bitten. And this is what happens, is at some point they'll just all turn into wereskinks. So, let's see. How many are there? There's 3. Is it going to tell me? Yeah, all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have one soldier who's not a wereskink, and the rest are all, in fact, wereskinks. So this is definitely a problem, and there's a few things I could do about this. I could enlist the rest of the civilian population of the fort into squads and try to fight them. I could try to make a burrow somewhere and restrict all the civilians to it as far away from them as I can and hope they turn back at some point, but I'm not sure I see that happening, especially if I try to get them outside, and they're probably just going to come inside. The plus side is that this won't destroy my fort because the wereskinks will not destroy each other. So at the very worst, I'll have 6 wereskinks if they do not kill everyone and everyone does not kill them. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put a burrow somewhere and try to get as many of my civilians as possible just to hide. And hope that the wereskinks don't find them. And then, I don't know. It would be really interesting if more got bitten without dying, but I'm not sure how reasonable that is. Especially because they're all trained military dwarves. But anyway, set up that burrow. You hit W, then A to add new burrow, and then you press enter on the burrow. If there was more burrows, I could scroll through them. And you designate an area for the burrow, like that. And then to restrict civilians to it, and this is generally good practice if you're being attacked and you want to make sure all your civs are somewhere safe. You can restrict a burrow somewhere deeper in your fort so that you can get your military out there and not have to worry about any civilians getting intercepted or something because they're running around outside like idiots or whatever, as they are wont to do. So you can also, I think, do some other interesting stuff for you, like keep certain doors in there or whatever, but I haven't played with it too much. So now that we have the burrow set up, we can go into our military screen and go A for alerts. And this will also tell you which of your squads are like active and stuff like that. But if you scroll over with the arrow keys to your burrows, you can hit enter and just restrict all the civs to that burrow, just like that. So I think what I'll do is I'll do that, and then I'm going to look at one of these wereskinks and follow him and see what happens. Unfortunately, it looks like there's definitely some dwarves who are going to have to run past the wereskinks. Oh, man. And I'm not sure... Let's see. All right, so who isn't the wereskink? Eden, Ral, Rovad, Gesher, Degel, Dusum. It is... Is it Zasit or Rovad? It is Dasit. All right, so I just have to remember when this is over to deal with everyone who isn't Dasit that's in the military, I guess. More than likely what'll happen here is that... oh, he just died. That's interesting. I wonder what killed them. Alright, well, it looks like they're just hanging out, so this may actually end up not being as bad as I was expecting it to be. It's an interesting issue. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with these wereskinks. Because I can, honestly, just kill them if I want to, but that's not as fun. But I can't think of a way to get them to bite the rest of my fort either. Because since they're military dwarves, they'd be too good at fighting to, like, do that. And they don't really reliably practice biting. I couldn't just, like, cycle the entire fort through the military. This is quite the conundrum. This is why I love Dwarf Fortress, though, because you end up with these really strange situations that are often very entertaining. Because eventually they will just turn back. See, there's 4 up here. Where's the other few? That's Eden. That's Ral. That's Ruvit. Okay, there's 5. Gishard's running around down here, apparently. Apparently not. Apparently he's just hanging out. Alright. And by all means, the rest of the dwarves will be able to survive until these guys turn back, I'm sure. Oh, Oh, yep, there they go. They pop back. Alright, let's see how this gets handled. Go into alerts, go back, you just hit enter again on the burrow and it'll unrestrict them. We'll see what happens to all the doors. It still looks like they're fighting. Nope, they just immediately started training. Great. Whew. I think my best bet might honestly just to be to, like, give them their own little building out somewhere and, like, restrict them to it or something like that, and just have a door connected to a lever that I can shut when they transform. And I think, what is this? This happens monthly, so this is going to happen again fairly soon, I think. That's unfortunate. But on the unit list, now I can show dead and missing, and it looks like, yeah, they got a few kills. Even a wereskinck, that's interesting. That's unfortunate.